A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shoaib Khan and welcome to MaxAfter.com's another exciting tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be creating something that looks pleasing to an eye by using different elements of design. So this is what we'll be creating. You can also watch the smoother version of this video on my blog. So are you guys ready? So let's start the tutorial. So here we are in After Effects. So first thing what we'll do we'll create the particles by using a trapcode particular. So first we'll go to composition, new composition, and let's make it NTSC D1 white screen square pixels, and time let's make it 0.5 seconds, duration 5 seconds, and press OK. Right, let's go and make a new layer. Go to layer, new, solid, and make it comp size. Let's write particular and press OK. We'll go to effects and presets and write particular, and let's drop this onto our layer, and particular is loaded. Okay, let's go first to the emitter. In emitter we'll change the particles per second to 2000, put a keyframe, and select this layer and press U on your keyboard and it'll reveal the keyframe. Right, okay, the next thing that we'll do is we just move it one frame and put particles per second to 0. So we need like bursts of particles, and then slowly, gradually, it'll die with time. We go to direction, and then we change the direction to directional, and let's change the direction spread to 36. Right, and then after that we'll go to X rotation and change these values to 90 and 1, and change this to 59. I mean, these are the values that I got after playing around with these values. And if you come to velocity, then velocity, let's make it 400, and velocity distribution to 1. Okay, so the next thing is, let's scroll down, and emitter is done, and if there is something missing we'll come back. Okay, we come down to particle. Okay, in particle then we'll change the life per second to 8 seconds, because we want the particles to be there for a long time, which is more than 5 seconds duration time. Then we'll come down and let's change the sphere feather to 62, and size over life. So let's change the size over life. So when the particles they are emitted, we want them to be a bit smaller and then bigger, and then it finally dies, something like that. And also, let's change the transform to add, and also the color random, let's make it 50 or something, so that we got these random colors here. Okay, the next thing is we'll come down to physics, and in physics let's close all this, and in physics we'll change the gravity here to 250, and at the same time what we do is let's go to auxiliary and turn on continuously so that we see what's happening here, and then come back to it later. Okay, so it's 250, and let's open up air. In air what we do is we'll change few settings here. Let's go and change spin amplitude to 18 and spin frequency to 3, and then the wind to 1.6. After that let's come down to auxiliary system. So in auxiliary are basically the second particles, which is basically the tail of the main particles. So we'll change it continuously, same as the main, the particle shape we'll keep it same as the main, which was sphere. So, and then let's change the particles per second to 4000, so that we want to see a lot of particles coming out. And life per second, let's keep it 1. Yeah, and size, keep it smaller than the main so we can see a good trail. And let's go in size over life, let's make it, at first they're big and then they die off, and they die slowly. Color from main 100, because we want the same colors as main. So I hope you guys are following me. This is basically auxiliary, the second particles, the small particles, which are these trails. If you turn it off, you see only these dots. So these dots are basically the main particles, and after that we want a trail, and you can only get the trail by using auxiliary particles. Auxiliary particles basically follow the main particles. Right, and now let's come down and change a few settings here. Physics air mode. Okay, let's say at 13 frames, the physics air mode only, we keep this turbulence position to 0. Yeah, press U again and it'll reveal the keyframes, and at some point here, 1 second and 5 frames, let's make it to 370 so that we get this effect. Now you can see they are like fireworks. So what we need to do is we need to make that spherical shape, So for that we'll go to spherical field, which is in air. So open it up and let's change the settings here to this one, strength to 100, and let's change the radius to 150. So at the moment you won't see it, so what we do is just bring this one down, press shift and bring it down. So just bring it here, so you can see that make it a nice spherical shape, So in the feather, let's change it to 0. So now if you render, it creates a globe, and then after that, after creating globe, then it, kind of distorts. So this is basically the effect that you get in the spherical field. Let's also change the wind effect to 500 and move towards the next part, which is adding the background. So let's close this one, turn it off, otherwise it will take a lot of RAM. So let's go and create a new layer, new, solid, and let's go and change the color to white and make it comp size and press Call BG, so it's background. Put it under the particular, and then let's go and create another layer, new, solid, and make it comp size again, and let's change the color, something like this. Let's name this bubble and press OK. And let's go to effects and presets and write CC glue, and let's open up the parameters here. Let's change this to 106 so we get this nice looking bubble here. And keep it 25, reflection 100. Let's open style, keep it plain, light. So in light, what we'll do is light direction, we want this light to rotate. So for that we'll just press Alt on your keyboard and click here, and we'll write a small expression, time times, let's say probably 50 or something. And if you see that this light travels, So if you want to slow it down, then you can change this to 20. So let's open up shading. So here, there are certain parameters that you can change the effect. So it's a good tool. Quite handy. Quickly does the job. Now, okay, the bubble is made. So let's put some opacity keys. Press T on your keyboard. Press 100. Okay, put a keyframe, at 1 second, let's say 100, and here, put it back to 0. So this how it appears. Yeah, and let's close this. The next thing that we'll do is we'll create, a ring around it. So for that, what we do is, again, we go to layer, new, solid, and just make it a bit darker color, you know. Press OK, and we'll call it ring. So these are just small, you know, elements, you know, of design that make something look nice. So we'll put it under bubble, and let's solo this layer, press here and go to ellipse, and then in the center what you can do is draw a mask around it. Press Shift and Alt and Control all together, so it makes a good mask. Okay, press this mask one here and Control D on your keyboard and change this to subtract, and press MM. Let's make a small ring, you know, like that. Unsolo it, you'll see. If you want this a bit smaller, then you can do here is you can do something like that. If you see full screen, you know. Well, actually we need this a bit bigger, you know, and make the ring smaller. Keep it -10. Okay, so we got our ring here under our bubble. Save your work, and also now let's go and type something here. Let's go and type layer, new, text. So let's write Max After. Press Shift on your keyboard and centralize it, something like that. And now let's go and select some font. You know, fonts, they play a very important role, you know. If you choose a wrong font, you know, the whole thing looks bad. So press here on the keyboard, and we are in the character, and press here, highlight it, and with your down arrow on your keyboard just change, you know, fonts and select the ones that you like, you know. So it's just a personal choice, you know, after working for a long time, you know, then your eyes adjust it automatically with a good font, you know. So sometimes, you know, people put the wrong font, like for example this one, this doesn't look nice or appealing to my eyes, so I'm not going to put this one. Similarly, you know, all these fonts. So let's go and press C on your keyboard. So we've got this C here, and so I quite like Century Gothic, you know. Let's go and make it bold, so it kind of goes with it, you know. And also Control D and bring it down, and let's type motion graphic design and make it regular, and also let's press Shift and then reduce the size. Change this bold to regular. Now you need to centralize this with your keyboard. Press Shift and make it up, move it up. Right, if you see that it's a bit out, then what you do is Control R on your keyboard. So we got the scale here, and let's, you know, match it with this. Shift, press Shift on your keyboard, hold this and then press Shift and centralize it, you know. Okay, now press R again, so we'll remove the scale. Select both of them and visually just, you know, adjust them, bring them in the middle, you know, play around. So here looks cool. Right, let's go to Max After again, and let's go and type here evaporate. Yeah, we've got this evaporator here, but we want it, you know, okay, around like 2 seconds or something we want our text to appear. So let's bring our both texts, you know, here, and press the Max After one first. Let's deal with this one, evaporate. Let's drop this here. So if you press U on your keyboard, it has already put, you know, keyframes here. And let's solo the layer, you'll see. So it's basically evaporating, but we want it, you know, to be backwards. So press U again. It'll open up the parameters, And let's change this to ramp down to ramp up. And also let's change this index to percentage. Now if you see, comes like that. And also you can right click and keyframe easy ease if you can't see it. This kind of looks nice. And also group alignment is coming, from the top. If you want it coming from the front, so it kind of aligns, Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's go and deal with the other one. Press T, and let's change this to 0, and at somewhere here it comes to 100. No. So we can adjust this in a second. Right, let's turn on our particular. So particular is put it above the ring so it looks like it's coming out of, inside the bubbles. And the next thing is what we do is, okay, one more thing that I forgot to do is type the round text. So for that we go to layer, new, solid, and let's type text. And we go to effect, and then we go to text, and we write part text. If you're working with CS4, then you can find this part text in obsolete. Okay, let's go right. Max after design. Highlight, Control C, and just Control V. Control V. Press OK. Here we'll change the Bezier type to circle. And let's bring our circle in the center here somewhere, so we get this circular effect. Alright, and let's go and change the font size to 10 or something. Let's put more text. Go to Edit, and space, dash, Control V again. Dash. I'm just doing it quickly. Again. Control V. So we got our text here. Let's change the color to something like this, and bring it closer. Also bring it here. So left alignment. Let's bring it to 4 seconds. Put a keyframe here, and then bring it here. And let's say we just need a bit of movement. That's it, So when it comes here, it rests. So right click, keyframe, easy ease. So when it comes to rest, it comes slowly. So let's put a keyframe for opacity. That is 100 here. Press U to reveal other keyframes, and opacity to 0. And we've got a particular here. Let's Control D and bring this one on the top. And toggle switches, and we'll change the mode to add. And okay, let's change this one to overlay or something. Right, or let's change to soft. Change this to half. Okay, we need to put a keyframe for the ring as well. Press T, and let's press T on the bubble, so the same, keyframes. And it comes here 100. Put a keyframe, and at 0, it's just 0. Okay, so this is how it looks after rendering. Right, so now let's say if you want to change a few settings here, let's go to particular, and we want the head, the main particles to be a bit bigger. So we come to particle size, let's say it's 10 here. So this becomes, bigger. Let's solo this one so that we can see it clearly. So we see these, Now another exciting thing that we can do is I was just experimenting. What if you don't want these, these spheres? Instead of these spheres, you want, butterflies, coming out. So for that, we'll import our other tutorial, growing boxes tutorial, because I've made those butterflies there, so I don't want to make them again. So this is a faster way of doing it. Double click here, and then we go and locate our. So here we are in growing boxes. We go to AE file, and we just import this one. So we've got all these files here. We've got this butterfly here, comp. So what we do is we'll bring our butterfly comp here, and let's turn it off. We don't want to see it. And then we come to particular and double click on particular, and what we do is instead of sphere we go to sprite. Yeah, in sprite then we go to texture. In texture let's import our butterfly layer. It says it's a bit big but it's alright, and we go and change this too. And it says the butterfly is moving, so we need to change random loop. Right, it takes a lot of time because we need to change our auxiliary, to change the same as main to be changed as sphere. So now you'll see that it's emitting butterflies actually. And also what we need to do is we need the butterflies to move with the splines. Okay, for that we will go to rotation, and in rotation we change orient to path, turn on. So these butterflies will now follow the rotation of the spline. Also you can change the size to let's say 15 or something, so you get bigger butterflies. And let's say these butterflies work to rotation, and just change the rotation, 0 rotation until we see that it's aligned with the spline. So these are butterflies of one color, but if you want different colors then you could go to sprite and sprite colorize, so it'll match with the spline color. So now let's go and render and see how it looks. So this is how it looks after rendering. So if you work on this a little bit more, then there are many possibilities with this tutorial. So this can be used as as a channel ID or logo animation, or a title or something, So there are many possibilities with this tutorial. So play around with the color, instead of the butterflies you can use something else, arrows or anything that looks good, so many possibilities with this tutorial. So I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. Once again, my name is Shuaib Khan from maxafter.com. Assalamu alaikum.